he came in when I met him, he's like, dude, when I got locked up, he was awake for like 2 weeks. And he's like, I had a street bike and I was selling dope. And he's like, I had 3 ounces of dope on me and I just jumped and I was fucking jamming for the border. Oh, yeah. And this day, he said, my life was just so bad. He's like, I've been going in and out of prison. And he's like, I just want to die by suicide by cop.
Oh, what's up, bro?
What's going on, brother?
Ladies and gentlemen, we made it. Podcast many months in the making. Wow, you look very enlightened right now, dude.
Yeah, I'm feeling very enlightened.
Very enlightened. Where do we kick this off? What are we gonna name this shit?
I don't know. Maybe we'll find out by the end of it. It might come through.
Oh shit. It's kind of awkward on the bed, hey? Like.
Yeah, just don't make eye contact. I think we'll be fine. Maybe we can make eye contact through the camera or something, huh?
Namaste.
Oh, spiritual bros. Yeah.
For those of you guys who don't know me, Shiny D over here.
And I'm Jayson.
The 11th albino wonder of the world.
The 11th.
We've been wanting to make a podcast for a while. Like we're both survivors of a cult. We were there for a few months. Man, I'm just super grateful that the acid there wasn't that strong.
You probably would have still been there if it was good, you know?
Yeah, dude, like, if I would have been with the family and Charlie Manson, like, in the Bay Area, like, that guy had that MK Ultra acid, dude.
You would have been the first sacrificial lamb,
bro. I would have been indoctrinated to this day.
They would have sacrificed you on, like, your second day there.
Well, they do like to sacrifice the most purest souls, so thanks, bro.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm Jayson. I'm an Ashtanga yogi. And I have some crazy stories too. And I know Shine's been wanting me to share. We've been wanting to do podcasts because we both just have these incredible lives and gone through some really, really, really high highs in our lives and really, really low lows. And what we've both kind of realized in getting to know each other and using each other's reflection is like people who've gone through tremendous amounts of suffering have tremendous capacity for love. So really that's what this is all about, sharing you with. But like just some of the crazy stories that we've been through and to try to find some like love in some of the most darkest and craziest places, you know?
I'm an exception to that. All my low lows have only like calloused and created more hate in my heart, you know?
Well, I've heard some good stories that I'm sure we're gonna get into later.
Yo, so one of the trippy things like I want to jump into right away is so Jayson's an Ashtanga yogi. He actually fixed my knees. My knees have been fucked up for like the last year. I was doing martial arts, I was doing steer wheel, and I was doing circus and a bunch of things, and I got this chronic knee pain for an entire year. I could not do anything. During the quarantine, I was going insane, man. I couldn't run, I couldn't sprint, I could do Xanax, that helped in the short term. We know what happened in the long term. Thank goodness the cult blessed and saved me. But my knees were fucked up for a really long time, and then I met you, and you wanted me to do Ashtanga yoga. And if you guys have never done Ashtanga yoga, like, it's pretty fucking hard. It's a very, very difficult yoga, and it's a yoga that feels like it's really, really hard on your knees. So I was very apprehensive, and I was really scared for a while when we first started doing it, thinking it was gonna fuck up my knees more. A week and a half of this ultra intense yoga, dude, my knee pain just completely went away. So I'm super stoked, super grateful for Ashtanga yoga. And one of the coolest things I think is, so Jayson went to the pen for a while, and he got really into Ashtanga yoga in solitary confinement. So I want to kick off this first podcast telling your story about the fucking whole solitary confinement and that whole journey, man.
Oh yeah, that's a beautiful one. And so like, I knew Ashtanga yoga and I'd been practicing for 10 years. And the first thing everybody asks when they hear this story, like just answer this question because they're like, you're an Ashtanga yogi, you look all enlightened, I'm all staring into the clouds, going into bliss, just sitting here. And like, what would you be in jail for? You know? And so I was already on probation from some other dumb stuff that I had done when I was younger. But I had, been selling a ton of pot, like hundreds and hundreds of pounds to the East Coast. And somebody that I was working with sent a package, and then I ended up, the police showed up at my house and I had a couple 100 pounds in USPS boxes. All with fake names on them, going to fake places, and it wasn't good. So I ended up having to do 2 years in jail in San Diego, in prison in San Diego. And the jail that I was in for the first year, there was no sunlight for the whole year. It was a crazy ass thing. And later at some point there was a riot and this wild stuff happened. I got stabbed and ended up having to go to another facility, but it was weird because I was there for so long, they dropped my level from a high-risk, high-level inmate to a lower-level inmate. So I was living in a community place where like there was like 100 people living in one room, like fucking crazy. So like I'd be sitting here on my bed trying to meditate, and this dude over here is like tattooing this dude. These dudes over here are doing some weird, I don't even know what they're doing. These dudes over here are doing some drug shit. These dudes over here are doing some like gambling, this or that. And I'd be sitting trying to meditate, and everybody's here, bro.
Wait, so you were saying like you'd be like doing yoga and shit, and there'd be like some fucking gangbanger like taking a shit like inches from your face, like messing with you?
So he's Shine's alluding to a story I told him about my longtime celly Bruiser. So Bruiser, I'm sure he's still out there or he's still in there. One or the other. But Bruiser's from P9, and it was like shout out to P9. It was like a validated gang. So hopefully you're not in the hole right now, brother, if you're upstate. But like I'm an Ashtanga yogi, and so every day we lived in these cells, and usually there would be 2 to 3 people, and it would be probably smaller than it would be half the size of a normal bedroom. So like right when you open and you walk in the cell door, there is the toilet, and then you go and there's a little sink hooked up to the toilet, and then there's 3 set of bunk beds, and there's about like maybe a yard of space between the wall and that, and you have 3 guys living in this little space. So for a while, it was just me and this one other dude, and I'm getting super weird, waking up at 4 a.m., doing 2 hours of Ashtanga yoga in this little tiny space, so hot that it steams up the fucking window. And like me, I was stoked. I knew I had a good yoga if I steamed the window, but my poor cellies, dude. Like they're in this fucking sweatbox, and this dude's just doing yoga in his underwear. So one day, like we all hear the thing, and like, there's a dude who has the keys, like when you're locked up, a dude who's like running the whole spot. The dude who has the keys, and he's like the fucking toughest, the most OG dude. Everybody has to listen to him when it comes to like racial politics and shit like that. And when Bruiser walked into the mod and we saw he was waiting between these 2 glass doors ready to come in, everybody was like, oh fuck. And the guy that I was with had the keys, and he's like, oh, I'm giving this dude the keys as soon as he comes in. Because you could just tell from his tattoo, the walk, the way this dude looked, he's just like the hardest motherfucker you've ever seen in your life, dude. I can only, like, I've heard stories about what this dude has done, like, in the pen and outside, and how little, like, and how difficult it is for him to adjust back to normal society after his short stints outside of prison. But when Bruiser walked in and we met him, it was really weird because he could tell I had good vibes and he loved me. But and I'm Jewish too, so this dude's a straight skinhead. He has a huge fucking swastika on his head and like a grenade on his neck, and the dude's just the gnarliest looking motherfucker that you've ever seen. And so I would wake up and our breakfast would be at like 4 o'clock. And then everybody would just go and get their breakfast and then go eat it. They would either eat it or just go back to sleep and hide it under their bed and go to sleep. So what I would do is I would just take my breakfast, hide it, and then right at 4 a.m. when everybody was asleep in this little tiny room, it was my perfect time to do like 2 or 3 hours of yoga. So I'm getting deep and I'm doing my fucking sun salutations, the hip openers, the balance pose, and it was always fun trying to do yoga in like this little cell and figure out how I'm gonna do this practice and like make it fit spatially wise. So I had to be very creative and like not get stuck on the traditional yoga pattern or whatever. These are prison yoga.
Dude, watching you like bend and contort in all those positions, that must have been confusing for a man who hadn't seen women in a while. Hey?
So let's get back to Bruiser. So I'm doing yoga, and I remember, dude. There's a pose. So like Bruiser would wake up at like 7:15 to take a shit every morning, and I'm like 2/3 into my practice, so there's steam in the room, it's hot, I'm sweaty as fuck, and like 2 or 3 days out of the week I would be doing like this second series posture where basically like both of my legs would be behind my head.
Hey, easy, this is a family show.
Grabbing my hands behind my butt, and I would be looking up, and I remember just how safe and comforted I felt when Bruiser looked over at me and he was squeezing on a turd as hard as he could, and he wouldn't release it until I made eye contact with him.
That's love.
It was real love. It was about the most awkward experience I've ever had. But I was a celly with Bruiser for about 6 months, and then he couldn't handle the shit anymore, so he told the guards, like, he's like, dude, just give this fucking dude his own cell. He's so fucking weird. And then I had my own cell for like 6 months. Yeah, so the reason that I went into the whole, whatever, I got transferred to another prison many years later, maybe like a year later or something like that, not many years, but a year later, I got transferred to another lower level prison that was like, I was saying, this dormitory with all these people, and like they would only allow you to go out to the yard for like 45 minutes a day. And then like it was just weird, bro. It was 2 levels, and there's like 80 dudes on the bottom, 80 dudes on the top, and these other guys are like looking at you through glass, just watching you all the fucking time. Always just checking you out and seeing what you're doing. And so they're like, you can't work out inside. And I was like, dude, this is my spiritual practice. And like, if a Muslim dude could pray 5 times a day, or you give somebody a halal meal, or you give somebody a kosher
you leave
meal.
Muhammad out of this.
I'll have to tell you my stories about my friend Jama. It was wild, but I met this dude and he was in credit card fraud, and I always used to party with this fucking guy. Well, I partied with him a few times on the street, and I never really knew him, just like spending all kinds of cash in downtown San Diego partying him. And I met him in prison again. His name was Jama. And he got caught up for this fucking credit card fraud. Hopefully he's out by now.
Shout out to Jama.
Assalamu alaikum, brother. I would in this area, like I had gone to the hole for a couple months, and then I got out, and then they sent me to a lower level facility, and they wouldn't allow us to work out inside or do push-ups because they didn't want to just get this whole dormitory housing area super dirty. Which, believe it or not, this place was clean as fuck. Like, all the races, all the guys, everybody who was there, like, Clorox their place from fucking top to bottom just from fear of catching Hep C from somebody coming in.
So it's COVID safe.
It was super COVID safe, dude. Like, well, it's wild because when you're in there, you're so desensitized, you have, like, no smells. So, like, when a guard would walk by, you would smell their cologne, like, before they come in the room, and you would smell it for, like, 3 or 4 hours. You'd be like an animal from the jungle because you're so deprived of all the normal smells that you get in the real world. It's like just a straight bleached, empty, clear zone. So I was like doing yoga and I would get in trouble for it. And then this dude's like, if we catch you again, we're going to send you to the hole. And so I ended up getting caught so many times. They sent me to the hole for like, okay, you're going to go for like 3 months. And I was like, oh no. But it was actually super cool because I knew I was going to go and I was ready. So I had like my stash of coffee and peanut butters and shit. And I stashed them. And
is that why like... So this motherfucker, like, I'll buy peanut butter and I go in the kitchen and where did it go? So then I'll go in his room and there's peanut butter stashed. And before I was like, yo, that's kind of annoying. But now I'm like, oh, it's his post-traumatic stress. He needs to hide his peanut butter.
I fucking keep that. No, so when I was in the hole, like, I'm vegetarian and like I wouldn't eat gluten. So like all they would send me in the morning was like a little fucking thing of oatmeal and then like a meat that I didn't eat. And then hopefully I got some eggs that day. And then that's all I got for breakfast. And I didn't eat like any bread that they sent. Then at lunch, they would only give me like a little ham and cheese sandwich, where I would maybe just eat the cheese and the bread if I was starving, and a cookie and an apple. So boom, that's all I would get for lunch. And then at dinner, like it would be meat and then hopefully some potatoes and peas and carrots. And that's all I would get, but with none of the meat. So it was like peas and carrots, oatmeal, and like if you count it all up, it was probably 600 to 800 calories. And all in all, I was in there for like 3 months, got out for like 2 days, I would do yoga again, and they would send me right back for like fucking 6 months, twice as long. Like, just because I was doing yoga, bro. And I was like, I'm not going to stop doing yoga. Fuck you guys. Like, I'm in here, I'm trying to better myself. And then...
I've never heard of like such a great act of rebellion done in such a gay way.
I'm sure everybody in there really appreciated it, you know, so...
I'm just kidding,
but,
I love yoga.
No, I know. It was that, when I first heard of yoga, I was like...
And gay people, for the
yeah.
don't cancel us.
And before, like, making fun of gay people was socially, like, inappropriate when I was...
Whoa, let's move on. Let's move on.
I'm gonna edit that out. I'm gonna edit that word out. So, we don't need to get into that. But, that was a scary rabbit hole. Detour. So back to the hole. And I would be...
Comedy, folks. Comedy.
I would be in the hole, and like I said, I would have my coffee, and then I would just try to have copious amounts of coffee so I wouldn't be super hungry, because every day I would have hunger pains. And I would like know how much, I would do like Ashtanga Yoga first, second, and third series, which would take probably 4.5 hours because there's nothing to fucking do. And then they only let you have a Bible. And I had this book by Ramana Maharishi. It was a book by M about Ramana Maharishi, and it was like 1,200 pages. And I told him it was like my Hindu yogi Bible. So they let me have the shit there. And he was just like this super enlightened master. And I was writing a book about enlightenment when I was in jail, because I really wanted to make my stay like valuable, and I wanted to grow. And I was like, if I'm in here, I'm in the hole, might as well be like I'm a yogi in a cave in India. Remember when I first got to jail, my teacher Natasha, she sent me this letter. She's like, you're so lucky. And I was like, what the fuck? You're so lucky.
That's the exact fucking thing that somebody who's not going to jail, like, oh, you're so lucky you get to spend. You know what else I could have done? Gone camping. Like, fuck off,
But
man.
if I did go camping, I still would have had a girlfriend, and I still would have had like all the other. It was so wild. So when I was in the hole, Natasha was totally right. I'm like so grateful when I look back at that time because like she was totally right. I had no girlfriend, no cell phone payment, no car payment, no rent. I had no classes to teach. I had all that time just to focus on me. So when I was in the hole, I fell into this deep place of gratitude because I didn't have to worry about the political, racial violence that was going on outside of me. I didn't have to worry about being stabbed or some fucking riot popping off. I was actually like a yogi in a cave in India, and that prison cell became like my cave, my hole. And I was so grateful because like even if I went to yoga and even if I went to India and I had to do all this crazy fucked up shit to go to India and like this crazy journey and almost die to find my cave, then I'd have to go find food. And look, I'm getting brought food 3 times a day.
So what I'm hearing is that Jayson, how dare you?
Sorry,
How
let's
dare
just
you?
let it go.
What I'm hearing is Jayson Barniske, the great yoga teacher, is a huge advocate for the prison industrial complex and feels that solitary confinement not only is a good thing, but that more prisoners should get sent to the hole.
Yeah.
Can we quote you? Sound clip.
What I would prefer is like if they had, there's a Vipassana prison. There's a Vipassana prison in like Thailand or somewhere where the warden of the prison got really into the Vipassana meditation, and then he made like a retreat where prisoners could go for a week or 10 days and go into silence and go into deep meditation, and then the whole prison became like this beautiful Vipassana meditation. You know where we get the term cell? Is we get it from like Buddhist like monastery. The area where the Buddhist like monk lives is a cell. So it's so interesting that even in like our prison culture today, like
What about the cells in your body?
So it's
You
like,
made that shit up, didn't you?
Yeah, that's beautiful. No, I didn't make that. You made a really cool connection, bro. It might be 444.
It's all connected, bro. 444, sacred numbers.
It's 439, dude. Let's refer back to it in 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's 6 minutes away
I'm
from
just super
444.
intuitive, bro. Yeah, that's why. So, but when I was in the hole, I would dive super deep. And like I got to this place of gratitude because I was so safe, I was so protected. Even the concrete was like protecting me from other vibrations of other things. And I'm basically just doing yoga as much as I can. And then I would do burpees and other workout stuff, and I'd read my book, and then I would write my own book, and basically that's all I would do from morning to night. And I had every single hour of my day totally like mapped out. This is and I would write down a schedule, and then I would try to make it even better and better and better and better and better. And so like my time and my search for enlightenment got so like efficient and so unique that like I would look up sometimes and the guards would just be standing right there mesmerized, like looking in the window. And I remember one day he's like, bro, why do you just do yoga out there in the hole, and like we won't put you away in here. He's like, this is amazing. And I remember I had quoted him the thing that I quoted him, have you ever heard the Tao Te Ching? And there's a line from there that said,
It's like, is that a barbecue sauce?
He's like, exactly. He's like, is that like Asian food? Like the pork there? Is it pork? I said, no, bro. And what I told him was that in the Tao Te Ching it said when you need rules to be virtuous, virtue is like long been gone. And he was so blown away by this. He was like, what? This dude in the hole, like upside down in lotus for like an hour or something, you know? And he's just like, what?
He was probably more confused. He's like, damn, man, all this flexibility and all this time, and I haven't seen this guy try to S his own D once.
It's funny because
that's confusing.
That, like, when all the cholos, everybody from every religion.
Yo, Holmes, you ever just suck it yourself?
And I'll give like a shout out to all the homies and the sureños and the paisas.
What's up, Holmes?
And all the brothers, what's up? And then all the black Asians and others.
This is only tobacco, folks.
But all the family that's in there, we had to work real hard to get along. It was pretty wild and crazy. But being in the hole it was a mighty experience for me to get connected with myself. And actually, the first day I was in the hole, I was with some dude who was schizophrenic and shit. And then they moved him out like.
Is that why you understand me so well?
Well, I don't know if I understood that guy or I understand you that well. But yeah, so going in the hole, like looking back at that time, even when I was in there, I knew that this was going to be such a sacred time. Like when I get out, I'm going to be like, damn, look back at that time and like, wow, I had all that opportunity just to look on myself.
God, I wish I was
to
in
this place
prison
with
still.
great and pure love. I talked about Shine, like if I was like had one cellie, he would be the fucking funnest cellie until he starts till he starts getting like really weird and pulling his wiener out and tying off and like.
Oh yeah.
The cell is too small. The cell might be too small, but
I have too much love in my heart, dude. Like I probably like would be
actually
okay
I
after
would
a week.
capitalize it. I would monetize you in prison for sure.
Yeah.
I would totally monetize you.
Oh, you'd be selling that sweet cherry ass.
I'd be like, give over M&Ms for lipstick.
Yeah.
We'd be ordering our commissary list. We need M&Ms.
I'd be like, damn, Poppy, I look pretty and shit.
We would come up.
We made some fake ass turquoise necklaces and shit.
It's funny the stuff you make. I remember I had this old time seller that was he was locked up for 20 years. And I was like, is there any way we can make a mirror to shave in here? Because you didn't have a mirror. And so we got the chip bags, and on the inside it's Mylar. So we would run the Mylar like under hot water and then carefully separate the Mylar from the chip bag without like stretching it out too much. And then we would wrap the Mylar around a cup, like under cold water so it sets tight, and then tie it off with a bunch of rubber bands. What we used for rubber
tie
bands.
off, speaking my language.
So oh shit! And so we had these like weird round things to floss your teeth because they wouldn't give you tooth floss because they didn't want you to hang yourself or something with it, you know, or like choke somebody out.
Autoerotic asphyxiation.
Or
Yo, they call me the dentist.
You would just see that. I could just see you like
Who
doing
wants
that.
to trip the tooth down, baby?
And then the guard is looking in there, like jacking off, watching you from the outside, charging other guards to fucking go and watch you.
Dude, I floss like a boss.
So we would tie off you would get a cup, tie off the Mylar like inside of the chip bag around it, and then tie that off and cool it under cold water, and then it'd be like a fucking clean ass mirror. You could see yourself in the shade with it. You'd be like, yeah, clean ass fucking prison mirror, bro. That shit was dope.
It's just not a mirror unless you can do lines off of it, you know?
Yeah. Well, in there you would do that any way you could.
Allegedly.
Yeah. I won't. Well, it's already kind of all blown. So like the way that dudes would get like a little bit of drugs in there, and the only drugs you would ever see come through there would be like heroin or usually meth and shit, you know? Because when I was in like a real I was always in a super fucking high security place. And then when I got caught in that open mod, there's like a lot of fucking drugs in there because there's trustees who can go out, and like dudes would throw them a package and shit, and then bring it in and then distribute it out throughout the yard, or like there were dope ass ways to get drugs in there. But to be honest with you, I was on such a kick and I didn't want to get in anybody's shit that
I feel like I could pack a couple G's in the keister if I needed to.
Oh yeah, that's another story. Yeah, let's save that for another one. Yeah, let's save all those ones for another one. But like,
yo, if we tell them we're saying that in the next one, they might not come back.
Yeah, there's different places. Like if you get in-person visits, like in prison upstate, then yeah, you're in prison upstate, you're definitely gonna be guaranteed you're gonna be hooping something.
Promise?
On a regular basis, yeah. And if you enjoy it, just don't become somebody's cash cow. You know what I mean? Like,
no, I'm more of a piss pig.
I had a buddy who he was on an in-person visit, my cellie, and then so like the girl like would come and visit him, and like the skinhead dudes told him like he had to do it like when they tell you to do something, you don't really have a fucking choice. You kind of like have to do it, or they're like 5 dudes are gonna stab you. And
tobacco.
Shit. But when you do it, like they're gonna hook you up and they're gonna give you some drugs and money too. So it's like it's cool. So what happened with him is like when he went in, he would meet this chick. And he didn't know this chick. She would come, and it was one of our friends' like the girl that he knew, and she would come in and she would like tie like a half ounce of dope in a condom or 2 or 3 condoms and put it in her pussy, and then she would come and they'd be sitting at the thing.
That's wifey.
Then they're sitting and talking. It's like a 2-hour in-person visit. There's a table and she's right here, and then she would get up and go to the vending machine and buy this dude some Skittles or whatever, right? And then she'd start eating the Skittles and then put the thing down, and she'd like pull that shit out and put it in the Skittles. And then she'd be like, keep eating some Skittles, and then like, here you go, some Skittles, and then he'd be like, start eating the Skittles.
Taste the rainbow.
And then he'd be chilling, and then he would get up and like, he would have the Skittles, you know, and then put the bag in his pocket or put it right here, and then he'd walk to the bathroom and he'd be like, but no, what he would do there, actually, he wouldn't do that. What he would do there is he would pick up the bag like this with the Skittles in it, and he'd go, and just swallow it. And it would be like a half ounce. So like, they would pack as much as they could, and he'd be like, so basically it was like a little thing like this that he would swallow, and he had to do it like, he started doing it like fucking,
It's pretty intense, but I respect when people like dedicate so much of their passion to their craft, you know?
Yeah. So then,
it's beautiful.
So then he'd walk back, and like he had it, and he did it 5 times, and it was cool, and I remember when it hit, like everybody was like, yeah. I didn't do any of the dope when I was in there. I didn't want to fuck with any of it because I didn't want to turn into a wild man and shit and just totally turn into like some skinhead fucking psycho and shave my shit and start getting I'm fucking Jewish, bro. It's kind of wild. To have to
I feel like I probably would have went that route.
You totally would have. I could totally see, dude.
Minus the prejudice. I'm a good actor, though.
Yeah, you just have to act. You
I feel like
have to act.
I feel like a swastika on my forehead would look good.
So get
but I would turn it to the side.
Put it like here on the side.
No, like the Buddhist thing.
Oh fuck, that's like super fucking Manson style, bro. Maybe you were in that cult in the past life, and that's why you're so like.
I feel like Charlie Manson's just kind of misunderstood.
Well, that's another podcast too. We can go into that conspiracy rabbit hole. We don't want to get taken off the air too soon. We don't get...
Well, it's beautiful because no one's listening, really.
This is true.
That's the great thing.
So,
but in like 5 or 10 years from now, I'm looking really forward to like they're gonna come back and take away like my career with like Disney.
I'm gonna
be like a Disney ice princess, and they're just gonna take it away because they're gonna listen to this 10 years later.
Oh fuck yeah! I didn't think about that. We're gonna get shamed hard for this 10 years later because there's probably gonna be things.
Princess.
There's probably gonna be things we said in here that are like
non-binary.
Yeah, he swallowed it. Like, you're supposed to be celebrating.
No one's listening. It's fine.
Yeah, and we are celebrating it. So he's like, I wish I could remember this dude's name. He was, he came in when I met him. He's like, dude, when I got locked up, he was awake for like 2 weeks. And he's like, I had a street bike and I was selling dope. And he's like, I had 3 ounces of dope on me and I just jumped and I was fucking jamming for the border. And this day, he said, my life was just so bad. He's like, I've been going in and out of prison. And he's like, I just want to die by suicide by cop. So he had a fucking gun on it, bro. And he's jamming towards the border. And like, he got pulled over and like at the stop, like he just kept jamming and he made it all the way to the border. And at the border, like 100 cops pull guns on him. And he fucking jumps out. And like he pulled his gun out, and like he had a moment where he's like, "No, I'm not gonna do this." And he put his gun down.
And they blasted him anyway.
No, and then they came in and like then they took him to my cell. They took him to my cell right afterwards. That's when I met you. I was like, "It's not, bro. You met the right person, bro. I got you."
I don't know what you mean. I have a clean track record. I'm outstanding. I'm a children's entertainer.
I just received my PhD when I met you.
I'm a children's entertainer. Where are we at? We're at 20. Let's go for like 30. Keep going. Prison stories.
So but he was poor guy. So when he the 6th time he met this girl, right? And it was probably over like 5 or 6 months. He maybe tried to get one in a month. It would make him go. The 6th time he met her, the fucking bag busted open in his stomach, dude. With like 14 ounces of meth in his stomach.
Oh.
Yeah, and I was with him, and I just see his fucking eyes roll back. And you're not allowed to press the button in the room and call, like, unless it's like, because there's a button in your room that like you can press and call and get the guards to come. And like, you're not supposed to press that, because like if you're getting beat up or you're getting taught a lesson or something, like anything's going down, you don't want to press that because they could always be listening to that thing too. So like you never want to press that thing. But when I saw this fucking dude's eyes roll in the back of his head and like white foam come out of his mouth and shit, I was like, boom! I pressed the button and I was like, hey, come in here. I don't know what's happening. This dude is having like a seizure or something. Like fucking send paramedics now. And then they
fucking likes to rap, bro.
Yeah, and I was like, boom, and then they came in and like. Yeah, it was wild, bro. They obviously knew what had happened, so they canceled his visits and shit. You couldn't keep going back. But they pumped his stomach and shit, and then they found all the drugs and they fucking gave him another charge for that. Gave him like a whole year added on to his sentence.
Did he say it felt good at all, though?
He thought he was gonna die, yeah. He thought he was gonna die. Because it probably took him 2.5 hours to pump his stomach from the time that shit happened.
Damn, what a waste of meth.
What a waste of medicine. Yeah.
What a waste of medicine.
We were not thinking the same shit. Medicine.
Well, the singularity is closing in, man. 451. I will be done.
So, yeah, something interesting too is like when you're in prison, most people who get out of it, they go through depression when they get out. And I knew that was coming.
You miss the homies.
Well, it's like everything you had before you went in, and when you're coming out, like it's all gone. And it's been fucking gone, and everybody's life has moved on, and yours has been right there. But like, I came out and I found like I had grown so much as myself. I just had to figure out how to integrate with society. So like, yeah, if anybody who's ever hearing this, like just got out of prison, like fuck, I would love to help you integrate with society. Like, Yeah, because maybe by then when people are listening to this, like, I'll be more integrated myself. But we're in a beautiful place.
Or maybe right now you want to stay in prison because it's not so fun elsewhere in the world right now. Unless you're in Tulum, baby.
You know, I read this book when I was in prison. It was beautiful. It's called We're All Doing Time. And it was dope. It was about this dude who got caught smuggling weed from like a boat from like Panama or some South America to Miami, and he got caught with like thousands of pounds and put in jail. This is in the 70s. Put in jail for 20 years. And he wrote this book about like how he realized, fuck, everybody's doing time. Whether you're in jail or like you're living in Tulum, this beautiful villa party, and life is like everybody is like wherever you're at, you're doing time. And so you can choose to do your time in joy and bliss and ease and grace and gratitude, or you can choose to do your time in like fear and nervousness and worry and like, yeah, I hope everybody can do their time with like, yeah, gratitude and like to find purpose and like find their meaning in life and kind of like unfold. We're all doing time, so like let's make our time a little bit easier together too, you know? So we all just have to share our own little beautiful gifts and like these things that we're like, I don't know if I want to share this with the world. It's like so dope about me. That's the thing we all need to share with each other, because like if we're locked in this little tiny earthship and we're all here together, how are we gonna get through it, you know?
I don't know how we're gonna get through us doing this severe sentence of time in Tulum. Like it's been real hardships, you know? Like going to the beach, all the people without masks, it's fucked up. I go, what are you doing? Don't you know there's a pandemic? And then 3 women just started rubbing fruit on my body, and I was like, what is wrong with you? People are dying.
Has this fruit been sanitized? Did you ask? You didn't ask if the fruit was sanitized?
I got a boner.
Yeah.
So...
What was that? That was like a fruit eating ceremony or something?
Yeah, so like, people are really like, we're in Tulum right now. Sorry to like shift away from like people being stabbed in prison.
We should go very light, yeah. Get a little more, let's get a little more wild. A little more fruity.
Get a little more wild now. So we're in Tulum and people are very like hedonistic, and I went to I don't know what you call it, like a fruit abundance ceremony or something. Basically I missed the whole like ceremony, we're breathing, we're super spiritual. I missed that whole part, and I just walk into our friend Kayla. She's bent over in a bikini going, somebody rub watermelon on my ass. And I was like, yeah, mama. So I got right into it, under her gluteus with a little cotto action, a little cotto in the back door. And then all of a sudden 2 more girls are rubbing fruit, and there's just all these people, and like, dude, it was so beautiful and incredible, and all the shit I took the night before was just like fucking popping up my brain. I was like, yeah! It's like Riders on the Storm. And then part of me was like, fuck, we're so wasteful. It's so funny because people in Tulum, like, we think we're like, we go to like these crazy like jungle parties and shit where it's just like so debaucherous and lavish and over the top and like fucking wasteful, and then we post shit on Instagram like we're saving the world. It's like showing people that you can still love, and we're literally just like rolling on fucking Molly and throwing fruit at each other in a country where people don't have enough to eat always.
Oh, what a duality we have in the world.
What a duality. So we're holding down a lot of love here.
Oh, fuck yeah, Tulum is so beautiful.
Dude,
it's truly the last,
fucking amazing.
It's the last haven for super spreaders.
And cultural appropriation.
Cultural appropriation is real in Tulum.
Dude, I'll go to a ceremony and like one motherfucker is repping like, he's culturally appropriating like 5 different indigenous tribes. Like he's covering like, he's culturally appropriating like every continent. Like he's ripping off penguins from Antarctica and shit. He's got like peyote shamans. He's got
what would he look like? He would at least have 2 or 3 bracelets, like the big ones that are beaded, like the ayahuasca bracelet, the bufo bracelet, the changa bracelet. He'd have 3 of them, you know?
Dude, it's incredible. And no one will call, they're like, it's so beautiful, he's so free.
He would have the hat for sure with the feather in it, the Tuluminati hat with the feather. He'd be rocked out with the scarf.
Dude, but we're gonna talk more about that. I'm doing a stand-up comedy show. I started Tulum's first ever, I don't know if it's the first ever, I'm gonna say it is though until somebody corrects me. So I started Tulum's first stand-up comedy open mic. So we're gonna make fun of all this spiritual shit later. I'm gonna come after Reiki. I might lose some friends. Oh, Reiki, you mean massage without the touching? Ba-dum-bum. Shh. Just a taste. There's better ones later. I can do better, I swear, please. So, this has been fun.
Yeah, this was good, dude. We should do this more often.
We're gonna do it more often. We've been wanting to do this for like 2 months, but it's like hard putting out podcasts when you're like microdosing and like free diving cenotes with little babes.
Life is so good.
Dude, it's wonderful
Life
down
is
here.
so good.
Yo, so if you're like watching this podcast and you were like me, like maybe you're like depressed, you're in quarantine, you're alone, you don't have any more passion, you don't have any more purpose, like you're going fucking crazy, maybe you lost your business and now you're losing your power and you're just like saying, dude, come to Tulum, come to Mexico, you can come hang out. If you're cool as fuck, we'll let you like sleep by our pool for a night or two.
Oh yeah, maybe you come on a full moon, a special ceremony.
Come down on a full
Come on
moon.
a full moon, yeah, come on a full moon.
We're gonna smoke frog secretions and get a little more wild now. Good vibes.
Oh, the plant medicines are really strong and magical and beautiful in this part of the world.
Dude, and the cenotes and the free diving and just fuck
energy.
the girls, man. I'm recently single and I'm just like, I was getting neck problem. My chiro's like, what's going on with your neck? Of like, it's this beach like all day. I'm like, what's up, what's up, what's up, what's up, what's up, what's up, what's up? And throw up my neck.
But the cool thing here is when you do weird shit like that, they'll actually talk back to you because they're like,
he's
what's
so
up?
free.
What's up?
He's just really not afraid to try to talk to anything that looks at him. So I think we're gonna wrap it up for here. You got anything else you want to say, Jayson?
Oh, just stay strong. Just stay breathing. Yeah. Whenever you get scared, check in with your breath and breathe.
Yeah, and don't swallow too much meth at once. It didn't work out well.
Yeah, for sure.
And do some yoga, for God's sakes.
Yoga.
Get it together.
Do some yoga together. Fuck what everybody else says about being together. Do
Yeah.
some yoga together.
Get close to people. Lick a stranger.
A good-looking stranger.
Like one that's fit.
Yeah.
One that's fit.
Yeah.
Don't like lick somebody at like the fucking drive-in for Jack in the Box. They're half dead already.
Yeah, like somebody who goes through a vegan cafe.
Yeah, lick a vegan.
Yeah, and honey ceremony, maybe put some agave nectar on her or something.
We've been putting honey in our eyes.
That's a beautiful far out medicine ceremony. Yeah, we met this honey shaman down by Koba. Me and my boy Magic. Oh, and I went back. We're like, "Could you do a ceremony?" He's like, "Ceremony? What are you talking about?" He's like, "Well, we could put honey in your eyes." He's like, "You guys want to put honey in your eyes?" And I asked the lady. I was like, "How are you guys gonna put honey in the eyes?" And me and Magic were sitting like this, and the lady just reached above his head and grabbed a leaf. And I was like, "Uh-oh, okay, I guess this is how." So she poured honey on the leaf, and Magic's like, "I'll go first." And he lays back, and she opened his eyes. And I just see the honey dripping into his eye, and I'm like, "Ugh!" And I hear Magic make this noise, and then they put it in his eyes, and then it's my turn. So they drop the honey, the magical honey, in my eyes, and I'm like.
And here's just like in my own, because Jayson says it's my job to keep everybody grounded down here, because most of them are batshit crazy, and I have to take so many psychedelics just to try to understand what they're saying on the normal level. In my mind, that shaman just like pulls off his costume, and he's like in street clothes after, and he calls in his wife, and she's like, "What did you do to them this time?" And he's like, "I got them to put honey in their eyes."
Dude, yeah. So when
She's like, "Oh, Larry, quit pretending."
We're here shaking, right, with the honey in our eyes, like, like what the fuck? And I hear Magic. I hear the next thing is the shaman and his wife who dropped the leaf, the honey with the leaf. So they start yelling at Magic. Cierra tu ojos, close your eyes. Cierra tu ojos, cierra tu. And I'm like, what the fuck's happening here? And I'm like, oh. So I hear that his eyes are open. So then I open my eyes and we look at each other and we have like honey dripping from our eyes. And then we look back, okay, cool. And then we close our eyes and they're yelling at us. And we hold there for a little bit and like shaking from the pain of this experience. And then I feel the lady give us like a little tissue to wipe honey like away from our eyes and our face. And then a few minutes later, she came and she gave us water in like a gourd. And it went like, and then I opened my eyes and we're sitting on this lake and it's so fucking crystal clear. It was like the clearest I've ever seen in my life. It was like,
Yeah, so put some honey in your eyes.
do the right honey though. It's gotta be the right honey, like liquidy, super liquidy honey. Not like the thick stuff. Because one girl that I met, she's like, I tried it and I got pink eye. And I was like, no, this is good honey.
It's because your boyfriend farted in your fucking eye.
So I did not get pink eye. I'm super happy to report. So
My eyes are very blue.
yeah, so if you listen to this whole thing, like, yeah, thank you for receiving the medicine. Yeah. Well, thank you guys for tuning in.
Love you guys so much. You're fucking awesome. Shiny D.
Aho, namaste, and ahow.
Bless up, guys.